Life in Balance is brought to you by Medical City and Guam Windward Memorial.
Hafide and Viva Mes Tsumoru. So today we are at Sagan Cultura here in Tumon. So today in this episode of Life in Balance, we'll be talking to Rafa and Pinko and Tom Torres about Sagan Cultura and what they aim to do. And also, if you guys want to stick around and see us attempt to weave a woven basket, stick around for this episode of Life in Balance. Hafide and welcome to this episode of Life in Balance. Today we are at Sagan Cultura and we are with Rafael and Pinko. So first and foremost, how are you doing today?
Good, Hafide.
Hafide. Okay, well, just to start off, for those who may not know, I was wondering if you could just give us an introduction to you and how you got involved with Sagan Cultura.
Okay, my name is Rafael and Pinko. I'm the president of Inadayan Ilanatla Cultura Chamorro Incorporated. We're the nonprofit that operates Sagan Cultura Chamorro, the Chamorro Cultural Center. And we formed, our organization formed back in '06. We're all made up of local artists from different backgrounds, and we wanted to make a difference by creating a cultural center. We found this place and we were prepared to we prepared a presentation to Chamorro Land Trust, who runs oversees the covenant on this property, and we were prepared for 6 months of negotiations, just like the Veterans Affair. When they asked for ASEAN, but we got it on the first night.
Wow.
So we got, with that said, we have tried our best to stay with our mission. And it's to help our local artists just be a place for, place to share and create and just to flourish.
Right. So, and speaking of, the fact that Sagan Cultura centers around Chamorro artists, why was it important for you specifically to offer the space for those people?
We really don't have too much, the time when we formed, we really didn't have much of a place for artists to display. The Kaha Gallery didn't have a gallery at the time. I believe they were bouncing around. They were in Tumon and Two Lovers Point. And now they finally have a gallery again, which is great. It's at the DNA building. But so we were trying to be more proactive. I myself had been working with local artists, trying to do traveling exhibits from hotel to hotel, just to show the visiting community and the hotels that we did have local art. And everyone, even though we had different backgrounds in the arts, we all understood the same thing. We wanted to get this community off the ground, and we are through culture. Using culture as the main focus of sharing our art, it goes hand in hand pretty much.
Definitely, and bringing it back to that point, what has been hosted here at Sagan Cultura?
Oh man, we've had numerous Pulan festivals. Gosh, we've had a 5K, a Christmas 5K called Gatsa Si Santa. That was a lot of fun, but that was right before the pandemic. We're hoping to do it again. And also we've hosted just as a property to other events. In fact, there's an event tonight, and we're sure we're going to have more events throughout the year.
Right. And speaking of events, there's so many, as you said, there's so many artists here in Guam who want to get into a creative space, but maybe aren't aware that spaces like these do exist. Mm-hmm. So how could they get involved in displaying their art here?
Yeah. Well, they can check us out on Facebook or IG, Sagan Cultura Chamorro, or they can come up here. We're usually here from 11 to 6. Or you can contact me at 688-7290. You know, we're pretty open to any ideas, especially if they're artistic. You know, there's 9 acres of land here. If you are into sculpting, that's awesome. We have a artist in residence, Mark De La Sola, he's practically here every day painting.
Wow.
And you know, that's something a lot of artists need, is like a space that they can get away and do their work, right? So, yeah, I encourage everybody to come on up. This is one of Guam's best kept secrets.
Definitely, and it's so beautiful. So thank you so much for having us here today. And before we close out, I was just wondering if there's anything that you'd like to touch on. You know, it's Mes Tomorrow, so is there anything that you would like to share with the audience?
Definitely. So we have an event on the 19th of March, which is Saturday. It's an all-day event. We're going to have cowbell rides, weaving classes, a sling competition with Otsu Marianas. And we're going to have a couple DJs spinning, possibly a couple more bands, some poetry reading. It's going to be a great full-packed day of events. So come on up. Social distancing, bring a mask. I know I'm not wearing one right now, but I'm actually doing some construction work. We're preparing for that day.
Awesome. Okay, Viva, we'll be here. All right, well, thank you so much, Ralph, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next segment. Up next, we're learning about the art of weaving from Chamorro artist and longtime weaver Tom Torres, and why it is essential to pass this lasting artistry of Chamorro culture on. Hafide and Viva Mes Tomorrow. Welcome to this episode of Life in Balance. So today we are at Sagan Couture with the one and only Tom Torres. First and foremost, how are you doing today?
Good, good. Weather is beautiful for today.
Definitely so beautiful, especially that we're having an outdoor weaving class.
Yeah.
But you know, before we get into that, I want to hear about you. How did you get into the art of weaving?
Well, when first off, my grandmother is one of the master weavers when she was still alive. I did learn from my grandmother, my father as well, and from my mom. It was a difficult time because my mom being deaf mute, you know, we had a lot of things to learn, especially whether it be weaving or trying to communicate with my mom. And she did do a lot. As in like teaching us what my father would teach her, and then from her to teach to us while my dad is out working,
Right.
to support the family.
Right.
Yes.
That's so beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. Obviously, it's been a journey getting to this point. So
Yes.
how did you start teaching classes here at Sagan Couture?
First off, when my family would actually start off at when we used to have the Micronesian Island fairs down at EP08 Beach.
Yes.
And then from there, my dad just put it upon me to keep the family tradition alive, especially because I'm the oldest of 6. I try to share my knowledge with my younger siblings and whoever is also interested in learning how to weave. It takes a lot of patience
Yes.
and a lot of trial and error, but once you get get used to it, it's all about thinking what else you can do,
Yes.
what else you can make.
Yeah, and speaking of the fact that it's trial and error and it takes so much patience, how long did it take you to get to this point, and how long have you been weaving?
Well, I've been weaving since I was actually about 5 years old. Sometimes my parents would kind of freak out because rather than waking up to go to school, I would actually wake up and run to my grandma's house for a little bit. She'll be sitting on her mat, weaving small items, try to catch a little weaving before I go to school, because my school is just right across the street from our house. So, it's
That's awesome, though. That's beautiful to hear that it's so ingrained in you, and
yes.
it's definitely a part of you. And fast forwarding to where we are today, we're here at Sagan Couture where you're going to teach your class. So can you tell us a little bit about what people can expect?
Well, for our first session, we're going to be making small cup holders. So what I'm thinking of doing is every Saturday, I'm going to be teaching how to, rather than just going straight to the point of making a hat, I'm just teaching them the basics of what steps to take so that when you get to the point to make a hat, you can make other things like big basket, pot holders, a wreath.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of other different items that we can make
Right.
with these basic weaving steps.
Yes, and definitely that's something that everybody can come back to. It's something
Yes.
that's a part of us as Chamorro people, so it's beautiful that you're
Right.
passing this on.
Thank you.
And my last question for you, why is it important for you, not only during Mas Chamorro, but throughout your life, why is it important to pass down this tradition to other people?
It's important to me because, you know, it's actually a dying trade. Not so many people know how to do it, or they do, but because it's a lot of time consuming, sometimes when they get frustrated when they miss a couple of steps and they just give up. So, you know, I try to push them to where don't give up. Yes, it's going to take time, but practice makes perfect. And, you know, once you get to that final step where you finally are able to finish a certain project, you know, you feel that that feeling of, hey, it took me a long time, but I got it down pat.
Yes, definitely. And
Yes.
I'm very excited to attend your class today.
you,
So
thank you.
so much for having us and taking the time out to talk
You're
to us
welcome.
before the class. So thank you, Tom Torres, for being featured in this episode of Life in Balance, and we'll see you guys in the next segment. Up next, we'll be learning about the traditional art of weaving during a class with longtime weaver Tom Torres. As March marks Mas Chamorro, we celebrate the culture, heritage, language, and unique gifts of the Chamorro people. We thought there was no better place to celebrate this month than at Sagan Kuturan Cultural Center in Tumon. SKC hosts Chamorro artists and cultural practitioners who wish to exhibit or develop their skills in traditional farming methods, cooking, healing, and more. In this episode, we'll be learning about the traditional art of weaving during a class with longtime weaver Tom Torres. Sounding off on the kulu, Tom Torres signifies the start of class and introduces what we will be weaving, none other than a basket or guaguat in Chamorro. Weaving is a traditional practice used by Chamorros for thousands of years, as the Chamorro people utilized Guam's abundant foliage to craft beautiful and practical items. At this time, Tom prepared the parts of the coconut leaves used to make our baskets. Each person received a piece consisting of 10 or 9 leaves to make their guaguat. Alrighty, and getting right into it, so the first step required to make our basket was to shape the leaf into a circle and then secure it using a string, zip tie, or later connect the ring during the weaving process. Now, I found this part especially challenging to attach during the weaving process, as the stem of my piece of coconut leaf was very thick. But no worries, nothing a little zip tie couldn't fix later on. Next, we had to braid the top of the guaguat and then move on to the next step of the weaving process.
Take the first leaf here and go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
From the base?
Under.
Yeah, I am. Anderson, actually. I'm in the Army, actually.
Then you take the next leaf here,
We really
and
small
go
hand
over
out
the
here.
neck, over the rest, and you run to the next.
Okay.
So you just go in order.
Yes,
I'm
go
just,
all the way
no,
around.
well, that's my
So here you can see Tom weaving the basket from start to near completion. Weaving at this level definitely takes a skilled hand, talent, and dedication.
Yeah, Chicago's about 5 hours.
Oh, so it's kind of making
I'm from
the
Washington.
curve the basket.
Yes.
Oh.
The state. Tacoma.
Go all the way.
Yeah. Spokane.
Then from here, you're gonna go.
You're gonna tighten everything up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while he was helping class participants in the true matrilineal spirit of the Chamorro culture, I turned to these extraordinary ladies for help.
Now, let's see. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 10, right?
Right.
Okay, 5.
5.
So you, and you go in,
Into the number 1
yeah, into number 1.
and
Pop
down.
up, hula up, and then down. Okay, like that. Then you take this next one and towards the rim. Okay, so that goes up. Then down. But I think I can fix it. Okay, so then it. That's the first round, right?
Now, I have to preface this segment by saying that I am not the most skilled weaver. However, as Tom said, weaving takes practice and patience. Remember that not succeeding on your first attempt should never discourage you from learning something new, especially when exploring your culture. And after help from my fellow classmates, we finally ended up with our beautiful guaguat. All right, so this is the final result from the weaving class. We made a beautiful basket, and notice that I said we because it took a village, a literal village to make this. So, ndunkaluna sizos ma'asi to all the beautiful ladies that helped me, and of course to Tom, thank you so much for this beautiful basket. I plan to use it as a phone holder, a key holder. Honestly, you can do so much with it. So I'm so happy with the end result. It's not perfect, but it's mine.
Oh, she actually got it.
Yes! Oh my god, so, okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Well, went the other way this time.
Okay,
I'm just happy that I know the peak content.
it's peak content. It comes in my direction.
What's up?
Oh my god.
Did I do it?
It went that way. This is why there's a net.
Thing for shutters.